Real deal, what's going on, bro? This is gonna be a pretty decent video. Just letting folks roll in. Probably I'll open the channel up so we can talk that way real deal. In a minute. I'm actually just playing around. I didn't even know you could put back. Let's talk on that. You learn something new every day, huh? But as we proceed, we do what you need. Do what we do. Bear with me. Let me go get a little refreshment, some water. And I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fellow, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall. And I've returned today to whap and tap on your head with another ADH wealth solution. Today, I want to go over something simple, which is renters insurance. I'm actually going over my old renters insurance policy for State Farm. So I'm going to look at it and we're going to go over some of the provisions and stuff. Real quick, while I'm at it, let me see if I can turn the camera on here. Okay, yeah, there's my camera. So you can see. So you can see this is my State Farm renters insurance policy. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reading over this with you guys and reading the actual provisions in the policy, because I think it's the issue that people often don't end up looking at their policies and even understanding what's inside of them, right? So they end up with, forget life insurance. This is stuff insurance, right? This is property and casualty. So this is your stuff that we're talking about insuring here. And people tend to get it wrong a lot. Like a lot. And the problem with it is because they don't read their policy, so they don't know what's going on in their policy. So they end up thinking that they got something that they don't. So let's take a look here. Again, this is my State Farm renters insurance policy. And we're going to read the provisions from it. I don't feel like having the camera on right now, but I will turn it on from time to time to show you specific stuff. Like here, this is the table of contents. So this is what, when you get your policy, a lot of people will call your declarations page. And it'll actually tell you a lot of the stuff about the agreement, the definitions, your deductibles, your coverages, and all that. So we're going to briefly breeze through all of that and kind of break down some of the different stuff that's covered in a policy. You have liability coverage. So when things happen, you're actually covered there. But again, people want to wait 15 minutes and save 15%, but then to save that 15%, which ends up being like $2.75 a month, you end up missing out on features and benefits. So let's go. So again, we're going to look at couple of sections here, and I'm mad this paper is thin like Bible paper. That's the funny thing. Hold on. You see this paper? It's really thin, and it's really soft like that Bible paper. I can't even turn the pages. It's really that it even sounds like Bible paper. Now that's funny that insurance policies are like Bible paper. or Quran or Torah or a holy book of paper. That's just ironic, if you ask me. So, first they have the agreement. So you have to understand what the agreement is. The agreement with you being the insured and the insurance company being the carrier or the company or the insurer says we agree to provide the insurance described in this policy based on your payment of premium in a form acceptable to us for the coverages you chose, based on your compliance with all applicable provisions of this policy and based on the information you have given us in your statements in this agreement. You agree by acceptance of this policy that you will pay premiums when due and comply with the provisions of this policy. The statements in this agreement are your statements and are true. We insure you on the basis that your statements are true, and this policy contains all of the agreements between you and us and any of our agents, unless otherwise indicated in the application. You state that during the 5 years preceding the time your application for this insurance, you have not had any losses, insured or not. When you request changes to this policy, or the information or factors used to calculate the premium for this policy changes during the policy period, we may adjust the premium in accordance with the change during the policy period, and you must pay any additional premium due within the time we specify. Now, here's what's funny. Most people, when they get that insurance, this is actually an agreement that not only is in your renter's insurance, it's also in your homeowner's insurance. But it's not only in your homeowner's insurance and your renter's insurance, it's also in your auto insurance or your car insurance. So when you're driving around and you're like, yeah, listen, I don't care. I just want the state minimum because I need to get on the road. And I don't really need that. And I'm a safe driver. Number one, being a defensive driver, you need to be about you realizing that you're a defensive driver, but the other people around you may not be. I'll give you an example. I had a family member who was a young teenager, God rest his soul, graduated high school and was purchased for him a BMW. When you're 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, through about 25, especially as a young man, you're pretty irresponsible. So if somebody buys you a brand new BMW as a high school graduation gift, what are you going to do? You're going to go get in the car with a bunch of your friends, and you're going to race. Well, during that race, unfortunately, my family member lost his life because he flipped his brand new BMW, killed himself and 3 other people. But, we also want to think about it when it comes to life insurance. That's not what this topic is about, though. So again, now we're going to look at the definitions of the policy. So, just so you know, it's all right here. I'm reading it literally from my policy. So now we're going to look at the definitions. So it says, we define the following words and phrases for use throughout this policy. These definitions apply to singular, plural, and progressive forms of these words and phrases. Defined words and phrases are printed in bold italics. Actual cash value. So this is an ACV policy, right? There's different types of policy provisions. So actual cash value means when something depreciates that I own that's damaged in my policy, and I put in a claim, they'll take care of it to the point where, and this even goes to the video that I did the other day talking about why you don't need life insurance. Because in that, I spoke about a friend of mine who put up a GoFundMe because their parents' roommate died. And when that roommate died, his rotting body caused flies and other biohazards to end up in that house. And that apartment above and beneath them was affected. So with that, they ended up needing to go ahead and take care of the building structure. Well, having this renter's policy will actually go ahead and add protection of the building structure. But I want to continue to actual cash value. So number one, actual cash value at the time of loss for a building described herein shall be the amount which it would cost to repair or replace such building with material of like kind and quality, minus reasonable depreciation. So if your TV was purchased in 2017 and you got insurance on it and it's 2022 and it broke, they're going to pay you whatever the actual cash value of that 2017 Apple TV is, not a 2022 Apple TV. So now let's look at provision number 2, definition number 2, bodily injury. Bodily injury means physical injury, sickness, or disease to a person. Did you know that was covered in your homeowners or your renters insurance? This includes required care, loss of service, and death resulting therefrom. So people will say, I want to think about it about life insurance. Meanwhile, they're running around with homeowners insurance, meaning they got life insurance for somebody if they die in their house, except for themselves. Right? Wacko, yakko, and dot, ain't it? So now let's check this out. Bodily injury does not include any of the following that are communicable disease, bacteria, any of the following that are communicable. So communicable disease like COVID-19, bacteria, parasite, virus, or other organism, any that are transmitted by any insured to any other person. The actual or alleged exposure to such disease, bacteria, parasite, virus, or other organism by any insured to any other person. Or C, emotional distress, mental anguish, humiliation, mental distress, mental injury, or any similar injury unless it arises out of actual physical injury to some person. So basically, when people sue you for emotional distress, technically that wouldn't be covered under your renter insurance unless, for example, your dog bit someone and then they claimed emotional distress. Give me 1 second here, my phone's ringing. right, I'm back. So, Wacky World of O, what's going on, brother? Had to take care of that phone call briefly. So, where was I here? We were looking at the definitions, and like I said, if you have a situation where you're looking at your liability, that's something that you want to look to protect. And you know what, Wacky World, I'm glad that you came here because this is something that I think is very important. And I'm going to change the title of this to Standards of Men, because these are the things that we need to actually be putting out and promoting if we're going to be responsible men, right? We have to look at things like our liabilities, right? And we always talk about our liabilities such and such ad hominem. We don't look about how to really protect or provide those things. And you know what? That's something that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change, and we're going to start looking at those things a little bit differently. So as you see, salute to everyone out here. I'm making sure to keep hydrated. I'm wolfing a little bit, so I'm probably going to go get cut up because I need my Nino Brown part, But at any rate, like I said, we're reading my renter's insurance policy from State Farm, right? And like I said, it's on thin Bible paper, right? And this is, again, for protecting our liabilities. See, again, as men, we're always talking about having the bag and get this bread, this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. And we never really, oh, I just got a text message from Brooks Brothers. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, Brooks Brothers. I be getting sales from Brooks Brothers all the time. So, at any rate, as men, these are the type of things, and this is actually something that Kevin Samuels should have been pushing to a lot of us, especially as black men. It's a classic brand, which is Brooks Brothers, but there are actually black-owned brands that I know of, one being Bespoke Couture, which is a friend of mine, OSK Styles, who makes bespoke clothing. And it's a black brand, so why not support it? Yeah, I'm not diminishing anybody else, but I'm bigging up mine more. If you don't like it, do something. So, at any rate, let's get back to this policy, because like I said, as men, we have to realize that we have to protect and provide. So we're looking at things like liability. See, there's things like vicarious liability. So as a grown man, I have things like wife and children and dogs, right? Well, if my dog goes and bites somebody because I got a nice little pit bull and he's nice, well, yeah, guess what? Dogs sense fear, and he might have sensed the fear in a person and caused them to jump the gate or what have you. And now my dog bites that person. Well, that person can actually sue me. And most people don't know that even if you're renting, if you have renter's insurance, there's actually money for the liability of your dog. There's something called vicarious liability, and your dog biting somebody, you can actually be protected from that. Now, if you look at a bunch of Judge Judy episodes, you'll see stuff like that. Did you have insurance? My people who are barbers, when somebody breaks into the barbershop or the barbershop burns down and your equipment was in there, guess what? The owner of the barbershop or the owner of the salon, your salon that you do hair or makeup out of, they are not responsible for your materials. None of your makeup, none of your barber saw, none of your supplies, none of your clippers, none of your business cards. So I hope you had renter's insurance, because again, I ain't talking out my ass. Let's look at what it says here. Matter of fact, there go my Burberry glasses. So let's look at this. Hold on. So, optional policy provisions, right? Prepared to fuck out, bro. Here we go. Optional policy provisions: business property, business pursuits, firearms, incidental business, jewelry and furs, silverware and goldware theft. Right? Things like your policy period, your waiver or change of policy provisions, non-renewal, assignment of policy, subjugation, other insurance, bankruptcy of an insured, the right to inspect. See all these different rules and regulations? One page. Boom. Right? I figured why not actually show you guys. So let's continue here. Right? We're looking at definitions. This is a little difficult to turn these damn pages. It's so thin. Yeah. And this is something that usually, this is what you need to do, which is called a policy review with your agent. Okay? So business means any full-time or part-time activity, trade, profession, employment or occupation, or a commercial, mercantile, or industrial undertaking of an economic nature. It does not matter whether it is continuous or regular, is a secondary or supplemental source of income, or is an insured's principal means of livelihood. Profit and profit motive are irrelevant. Business does not include volunteer activities, incidental and infrequent personal economic activities such as a hobby, garage or yard sale, or traditional farm activities when the farm products are intended only for the personal use of the insured. Any occasional or part-time self-employed activity by a person under 21 years of age that involves no employees or subcontracted independent contractors and is a type of activity normally performed by persons under 21 years of age, but included but not limited to childcare, lawn mowing, or paper delivery. D, the ownership, maintenance, or use of systems and equipment used to generate electrical power up to but not exceeding 125% of the actual electrical power usage by the resident's premises in a 12-month period prior to the date of the loss. Or ownership of the resident's premises by the person or organization shown in the declarations as additional insured. So you'll see here they'll say they've got residence as part of the dwelling structure. So again, when you have business and you have residence, that means that things like your clippers and stuff are going to be property that belongs to the insured. So why is it that I got homeboys at a barbershop, one who's 20-something, who can get an SCP, doesn't know what it is, but tell me he has one already? There's no way. But see, what happens is, partially it's your fault and partially it's the industry's fault. The industry realizes that we have to feed you like goldfish. You have a short attention span. That short attention span, companies like State Farm, which I used to work with, spend ass loads of money on commercials for Joel Embiid or Karl Anthony Thomas to get dunked on by Jake from State Farm, who was originally a white guy. And hey, Malika, how you doing? They spend all that money on commercials for drink from State Farm, and then their payment system sucks. And they do stuff like screw up people's payments. Actually, a lot of insurance companies do that. And what that does is for the client, especially because it's a dynamic position where chaos was good, it puts people in a position where they tend to not trust the agent, right? Because the agent does what they do. And yeah, they're salesmen, they get a commission. Salute Trash Can, what's going on? Right? But, and I just realized you got that 360 spinning in them, in that picture. Them 360s is going. But so when we're looking at these companies, they actually mess around and do things like mess up your payment. Now the agent has to turn around and save face. It usually has no clue what happened, but they get informed of it and part of their job to what we call put out fires. Let's see. Got some stuff going on here. Actually, while I'm at it, since we're talking about the measure of men, and like I said, I just got this text message from Brooks Brothers. Let's go to their website because they got the limited time sale. And Clarence Price. Good afternoon. I now rent an apartment, so this is perfect for me. I don't really know what company to choose for renters insurance. We'll talk about that in a second, Clarence. And I know I'm jumping around, but I rarely go live, so when I do, I might actually look at some Brooks Brothers from Hawaii. Let's look at some Brooks Brothers from there. Actually, I'm not a whole suit guy anymore. Us younger men are really not suit guys. We'll wear a blazer and maybe some jeans. Oh, that green blazer is fire. And y'all see, their stuff is fairly reasonably priced. For example, this blazer is only $598, right? So you also have to realize what type of clothing people wear, right? Oh, this is nice and it's cheap. Let me see what y'all think of this one. Hold on. This only $400. Brooks Brothers, right? Brooks Brothers. So this is classic fit. At any rate, I want to get back into the renter's insurance policy. And this is the reason that we're talking about the measures of a man, right? Because I spoke to some young men who, and again, not just life insurance, but a bunch of different insurances. Why would I worry about doing that and make for some family I don't have? That's stupid. Well, you need to plan ahead. You see, in this, they asked about losses from 5 years ago. So when your happy ass is worried about these 304s, which, let's be honest, man, the only reason you're mad about 304s is because they don't catch feelings. And you're upset because you want them to have feelings for you. That's why you're upset with 304s. Keep it real. That's really what it is. That's why men don't like 304. We don't like 304s. We love 304s. Don't get me wrong. We love digging in the trash. Jumping out the dumpster. Wham, bam, thank you, man. But the measure of a man really tell you to be consistent. Yeah, you rock the professional suit for big business, but not even big business anymore, man. Now I'm at a point where, and you'll get to certain points in your career. Give me 1 second. It's Alonzo speaking. How can I help you? Sorry about that. Phone is always ringing, which is always a good thing. So, again, yeah, the crazy thing is your renter's insurance can actually protect your suits and stuff. So, give me 1 second. I want to show y'all something. I'll be right back. All right, so here we are today. missing everyone in these lives. I hope everyone's day is. I hope so as well, and hopefully we'll have a few more of these lives. Like I said, I'm going to jump from a couple of topics, but I want to look at a couple of different items. So, like you saw, average suit is anywhere between $300 to $1,000. So most of mine are between $300 and $600. I'm not balling like Kevin Samuels was, but you got to have your pinstripe suit, right? So that's one, right? Now, you'll also need to, and this is something I think Kevin Samuels should have done more. Later on in his shows, he did have a lot of, now he's an older gentleman, so he had a different kind of style. With younger men, we're going to like more pop, more flash, right? But it's hard to have pop and flash just to blaze it, right? But you can do things like have paisley, different interiors, and all sorts of stuff, right? So starting off, we have, and this is a double-breasted, right? So you got your pinstripe, right? Next, you're going to have, just a regular charcoal. And you're going to have your tan, right? And I've got my baby blue, right? And you've got your window pane gray. You're gonna have you're gonna have a lot of different grays. Gray is a multitude because you can go from dark charcoal gray, and then you can go all the way down to a really light gray. I don't really have a light slate gray. I need to get a light slate gray. But if you notice, this is a blue window pane. So if you'll notice, there's an actual design in the fabric. Then this is the navy, so you're always going to want to have it. You're going to want to start off your starters: black, navy blue, charcoal gray. Black, navy blue, charcoal gray. Those are the first three you need to start with. Black, navy blue, charcoal gray. Those three, you can interchange the pants, you can wear tan pants, anything. Now the tan suit is the next one that you want to get, but tan is a very casual color. So now you're also going to want to look at what's called the weight of the suit. See, these are some of the things that I haven't heard people like Kevin Samuels tell us. So when you're looking at the weight of the suit, you want to look at the materials that the suit is made of. So when you're looking at wools, right, you'll hear things like Super 100s, Super 120s, Super 150s. What does that mean? Well, the higher the number, the 150s and up, that means the thread count. The higher the thread count, the softer the fabric. Right? Now, most suits, a good suit is going to be a wool suit. When you look at the Stacey Adams, black men, let's be honest, if you're wearing Stacey Adams, you are wearing prison suits. You're wearing court suits and church suits. That's Steve Harvey. That's low class. I don't mean to diminish us, but it is what it is. Most Brooks Brothers suits are going to be wool suits. Or when you're looking for a summer weight suit, meaning the material, it's going to be linen or cotton. Cotton suits are very good for summer. Linen suits are obviously good for when you go to tropical islands. So again, here's your navy. Now we get into the colorful. Like I said, these are for your younger. So this is a good, inexpensive brand. It's called Paisley and Gray. You can get them at Lord & Taylor. There you go. Paisley and Gray. You can also get them at Men's Warehouse. So I just happen to shop at Lord & Taylor. But you can get them at Men's Warehouse. In fact, this one is from Men's Warehouse. And it has a nice color, has a nice little pocket square. So then I had to get my baby blue again, but I had to get this one because it's double-breasted. And again, for the younger men, you're going to have colorful lining in your suit. That's what it's about. It's about the lining. So I'm not a three-piece suit wearer. I like two-piece suits, but I have a brother who likes the three-piece because he likes the vest. So when you do the vest, you're going to have an additional lining on the back of the vest. This is a Macy's brand. This is INC. Right? And again, it comes with the pocket square. And again, because we're younger gentlemen, we're 40 and under. That must be my phone. So because we're 40 and under, we're going to end up wearing styles as such. And I'm sorry to branch off, but again, we're looking at the measures of a man. So it's just some things that are popping into my head because of what I'm seeing in the world. So next, again, another funky color, right? We here in the building. What's going on, brother? All right. And I'm missing a blazer. Where's my other? I'm missing a couple blazers actually. So I'm gonna have to go get some other ones to show y'all. So again, like I said, the classic black. And there's another color that's missing that I want to show y'all that now is the new black. It's not. So one of my favorites, and this is how I dress it up nowadays, right? Generally, I'll do a V-neck t-shirt with a blazer. Now this is more during the summer. You always want to keep a pen in your pocket. On blowing. On my extra button. So burgundy. Burgundy is the new black. Okay? So burgundy is one of the most versatile colors. And when you're looking at shoes, and you're doing burgundy, that's when you want to have the hard bottom. Right? And when you're wearing those burgundy hard bottoms, you don't want to ask for the color burgundy. What you want to go to somewhere like Joseph A. Bank, where it's fairly inexpensive, but still fairly expensive. So you can get a cheap suit for about $400 or $500 at Joseph A. Bank. You get a fairly decent price one for their executive level is about $2,000, right? So they'll go by. I think it's Traveler Executive. I don't shop at Joseph A. Bank. They're one step above Men's Warehouse, but again, Joseph A. Bank is going to be for your old school stuffy ass guy who's in a full tie. That's going to be for people who are 56 and up, like Kevin Samuels, the old dudes of the manosphere, not the new progressive men of the millennial manosphere, if you will, or the financial sphere. He said, pull out the ill-skinned lady, gaze of lady shoes. Hold on, now I will break out some footwear. Hold on, but so. This is going to be, your burgundy. I've got a couple of others that I need to break out for us. Give me 1 second. My wife's going to kill me if I don't clean up this house, so I'll be right back. Wiley, what's going on, brother? All right. Yes, thank you everyone for hitting the like button as you've entered. One more blazer. So this is a heavy blazer. And again, when I'm saying those cheap suits, Stacey Adams, etc., the reason I'm calling them cheap suits is because of the materials they're made of. And this is, again, I'm a Burberry fanatic. This is London Fog, the original Burberry. And like I said, I've got, all my Burberry glasses. That's some work. I work from home, so my desk is a little bit of a mess. See, I got all my pencils and stuff back there. But at any rate, so I am a bit of a London Fog or Burberry fanatic. So I got my original London Fog, and this is the full length trench. So this is something that you can have, and you can wear this all year round. In the wintertime, it's decent. It is a raincoat, but these are the type of things you want. Now, when you're talking about them Gators, let me see what we got for shoes. Give me 1 second. When it comes to shoes, it was just easier for me to bring the shoe rack out of my closet because I don't have a ton of shoes, but I do have a couple pairs. So obviously, my Darth Vader slippers, gotta have those, right? One of my favorites, my most recent, you gotta have a pair of J's. But here is what's funny, right? These are the J's I recently bought, but these are what I've been wearing for years, and these are Levi's. Striking resemblance, huh? Right? Now let me show you something else that's funny. These are $700 Roberto Cavallis, right? Striking resemblance, huh? Right? Striking resemblance. So that's why I say, as a financial advisor, when you're buying them J's, go ahead and buy 3 pairs of J's a month and spend the money that you would save on that 4th pair of J's on a financial vehicle, like a life insurance retirement plan, like my man Sheep was talking about. All right. So now, I'm not really big into the name brands on shoes. I used to love my Calvin Klein driving shoes because I like a lot of Calvin Klein. So these are the driving shoes, right? These are, the night out in Miami club, no sock Dominican shoes. Now, some of my favorites, these are my favorites, right? These are my Bostonian hard body. Cap toe. And again, like I told you, the burgundy, the oxblood. I haven't broken out my wardrobe in, a couple of years now, especially since the pandemic. I haven't been shopping in a while. I used to be a shopaholic. I used to stay in Macy's. So these are some of my favorites. And again, Bostonian is a really solid shoe. Another really solid shoe for men is Cole Haan. Cole Haan are Nikes. And then another really solid shoe for men is Rockport. Rockport are very comfortable shoes for men. What else I have here? I go back in my room and get the rest of my shoes. So every man needs to have a good loafer. So you can have the penny loafer where you actually stick the penny in, or you can have the tassel loafer. Okay? So this is a tassel loafer. Now, here's the thing about a good pair of shoes. He said I'm pulling them stuck up 304s. Yeah, listen now. Ain't nothing wrong with Stacy's. Don't get me wrong. I will still rock Stacy's. But Stacy's are when we go to the Elks Club in the hood. Okay? Now, we got to remember, especially Black Americans, we talk about this, having to compare ourselves to other cultures. Listen, we have our own cultural things. So breaking out the Gators, well, that's something from our culture. So when we go back to our people, don't get me wrong. You better stunt in them Stacey Adams, and you best believe I'm a stunt in them Stacey Adams, because I used to have a few nice pairs of Stacey Adams. I had a pair with a dragon on the front. I had these ill loafers that was like Gators. But Stacey Adams are very uncomfortable shoes to stand in. All right. She said I'm wearing burgundy right now. So yeah, again, and these are Bostonians, I believe. Yeah, these are Bostonians. These I have had since 2011. Okay? These shoes are really good. So the difference between, for example, this is why I'm not really into sneakers. This is why you'll just catch me in like a $50 pair of New Balance, right? These $700-800. I think they was $800 to be honest. I don't remember. I got them online, and I only bought them because I had never had a pair of Jordans, and they looked like Jordans. And then the following year, this year I bought a pair of Jordans. But that's why I bought these, because they were Roberto Cavalli, and I wanted to stun on them. So I said, but they're not the most comfortable shoe. Yeah, they're not the most. There, Roberto Cavalli, but they're not the most comfortable shoe. But this, right, as you can see, I tend to tread down the treads of my shoes. Well, the beauty of this is for $100, I get the heel and the sole replaced, and I have a brand new shoe, and it's broken in, so I'm already comfortable in it. So there's a trick when you're looking at shoes. Now, some will tell you to get metal, some will tell you to get plastic, right? But you get what's called taps, and she can speak to this. So you get what's called taps. You get taps on this portion of your shoe. You can actually see the holes here where they had the taps in my shoe, and you get taps here. Sometimes, if you get the metal taps, they make noise. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Men used to be styling back in the 60s and 70s with the taps on their shoes. We fell out of grace with that, and we got these $150 sneakers that we can't do nothing with after 3 months and the tread is worn. At least with these after 3 months. Or fuck the $150, these $800 sneakers that I can't do nothing with after 3 months and the tread is worn. But I was dripping for 3 months while I wore them every day. These I had since 2011. Heel, sole, and they're a nice shoe and they're very comfortable. Again, one of my favorite brands, Calvin Klein's. So, this is the long toe. Now, hard bottom, again, I need to get some taps on these as well. So, again, when you get the taps on them, they're going to be the tap on the heel and the tap on the toe. Let's see what else we got here. So, you always got to have a little casual sneaker. So, I do have my polos, right? Let me see if I can I got maybe 2, 3 more pairs. Let me put these back. I'll be right back again, y'all. And then we'll get back into, the measure of being, but this insurance stuff, it goes deeper than that. And all that, this stuff, it's hard because I don't like to show off. But if I show off, especially in our community, it's hard to get to our people because now they think you're showing off. But if you don't come out showing off, they think you don't have no money and they don't tend to trust you. It's a weird double-edged sword. I'll be right back. Y'all got me getting a workout today. Y'all actually gonna have my wife happy because I'm gonna end up having to clean up now, for real, for real. So this is an old Alfani. Alfani is one of my favorite brands from Macy's. I love Alfani. She said, send me those. I read the Aldos. Aldo, a hard body. So this is one of my older Chelsea boots. The Italian zip up. And I think every man should have a zip up. There's another one I made. So again, we getting full measure of a man lessons today, right? Because again, I had to have the pennies. Gotta have the pennies too, right? Bam, right? But you'll rarely see me wearing that. Most days you'll see me in this, a simple black walking shoe. And yes, I will tell Mrs. Hall, hello, Malika. No problem. Right? So this is basically what you'll see me in. You know what the funny thing is? Car salesmen love when they see a man walking in New Balances. It shows that he's responsible. Believe it or not, in our community, if you're walking around in a simple basic sneaker, he ain't nothing, right? You gotta have those Roberto Cavalli. This is not the most comfortable shoe, but again, and I knocked off the tap on the back, but if you'll see, right here, the tap on the front, right? Now, I do the plastic taps. I don't like the metal taps. I don't like the noise. But you put the taps on your shoes. Let me see if it's on the other video. No, it's all the way on the other video. But when this diminishes, I go to the shoemaker and they replace the entire bottom. The shoe is completely broken into my foot because I've had this shoe for over 10 years. 10 years. So now when I bring it and get it shined up, think about it. Them J's, if I wear those for 10 months, they're a wrap. But these are going to last. Now again, I showed y'all that other Chelsea boot. This one right here, again, Alfani. I'm a big Macy's guy. Hard body. Look at the design on that. Now, I like the mid, right? Your buddy Kevin Samuels liked the kitten heel. He liked the high boot. I don't like the high boots. I'm not tall, right? If you're under 6 feet, you don't really want a high boot. Now, if you're over a certain height, like when we're looking at the suits, you see all my suits are 2-button. If you're under 6 feet, 2-button suits. Okay? Because 3-button suits make you look pudgy. Okay? So I think we already looked at the cat toe. Again. Well, as you can see, it's torn down. But again, there's that tap. Right? You're going to put those taps on your shoes. It preserves your shoe. It preserves the heel of your shoe. It preserves the sole of your shoe. Right? These are hard bottoms. Now, there's something else with hard bottoms. These are Cole Haans, right? You can't tell, but you want to score the bottom of your shoe when you're looking at hard bottoms. Here's the ironic thing. Hard bottoms, you're generally going to be used for that big business, right? So your hard bottoms are going to be something. This is what I would call my lodge shoe when I would go to my Masonic lodge, right? So when I would go to my Masonic lodge and I would wear, my lodge suit, which is a black suit, white shirt, black tie, black shoe, right? But who doesn't wear that? So how do you know who isn't a big? Right? It's a very generic. John Wick wears that. Everybody in the Matrix wears that. The good guys and the bad guys. Mr. Smith and the Nino. So another Chelsea boot that I like is this one, right? So this Chelsea boot is up. And the reason right? Now the reason I got this is because it gets cold in the winter, but I still like to wear, a nice pair of jeans, a nice blazer. And it's really hard to wear, that and like a pair of Timbs for regular snow boots. So it's nice to have something that's at least nice, and it's got the duck boot base. But I don't really like the duck boot, because the duck boot you can kind of tell is a duck boot. If you don't know what that is, do some research. And then lastly, you got your chucker. And like I said, that's a Levi. I don't think I've ever worn these. But that's a little bit of the shoe collection. And those are some of the things that you'll want to have as a man. And you'll develop your own style. So again, when I say get rid of Stacey Adams, get rid of that for business. Do not wear Stacey Adams for business. Stacey Adams is fashion only. It's like a fashion watch, right? When I say fashion watch, what I mean is if you have a nice big chunky watch, but it's brand Michael Kors, that's not going to get you as much money as if you have a nice big chunky watch that's a Tag Heuer or an Invicta. It just is. I'll be right back. Woo! All right, so where was I? That I like Invicta. Oh, listen, man. I can get into the. Here goes one of my watches. And like I said, these are fashion watches. Both of these watches are fashion watches. Now, the nice thing about this one is it's an automatic, right? So this actually has the design where it self-winds, because it only winds when you move the watch itself. This one, again, is a fashion watch, so it's not going to get a lot of money on the market, right? It looks nice, right? It's a very nice watch. But for example, if you were to show this watch to Anton Daniels, even though this looks like a Rolex, it actually is trying to mock that style of watch. Maybe a Citizen or a Seiko, but it's trying to match that style of a watch, and it doesn't. But it's still a nice watch. That's why I got it. My wife got this one. One of my favorite watches. One of my favorite watch brands is actually Fossil. And last, while we're at it, since we're talking about stuff like cologne, I'd like to one day have one of them be this, but we've got Mont Blanc Legend. So this Mont Blanc is one of the best Mont Blancs out there. Okay, and they got this new blue one that's banging about to get. It's a small round bottle. It's not Legend. Right, so you have Mont Blanc Legend, and then me and my wife were at Macy's the other day, and I was gonna go pick up some more Mont Blanc, and she goes, "Oh, what's that?" The makeup. I mean, not the makeup. The counter girl, the girl at the counter, and so we smell it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's slamming," and my wife is like, "You're getting that." Now the next one I got, because I am a big Burberry guy. All right. So real quick, want to get back into like you were talking about, tax-free retirement, right? And you already know Husbands Unite, husbands and fathers. But back to the sense. I haven't even worn this yet. I haven't even opened it, to be honest. I just bought it. Terrible. So Burberry. I think this is the whole set. Yes, it is. This is Burberry Hero. Now, I'm not used to this Burberry. I used to wear a different Burberry. It's a small box that they had blue, yellow, and red. The yellow and red didn't appeal to me. The blue box was my favorite. And it was a small box, blue, yellow, or red, with the Burberry insignia on the bottom of the box. I can't remember the name, but this is Burberry Hero. And again, I'm big Burberry boy, big Burberry, big Burberry, big Burberry, big Burberry, big Burberry, big Burberry, big Burberry. Big Burberry. Like I said, make sure that, and that's why I got 3 pairs. If you're going to buy 3 pairs of J's a month, go ahead and do that. But make sure that the money that you spend on that 4 pair of J's, you put in a financial vehicle so you can buy 3 pairs of J's for the rest of your life. So here go my 3 Burberrys. Now we put it into a financial vehicle so I can buy 3 Burberrys a month for the rest of my life. Y'all are going to help me with that by becoming my clients too. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star barber, Alonzo Ball. And I am here today, whapping and tapping on your head with some things that are measuring up me. So now that we got all that fun stuff out of the way, let's get back to what we call brass tacks, right? Because again, we're looking at protecting and providing, right? So let's see. So let's look at that bodily injury, right? We're looking at the declarations, the dwellings, right? Insured location means the premises. Loss insured means loss described under Section 1. Motor vehicle section is policy. A land motor vehicle designed for travel on roads is subject to motor vehicle registration. Okay? They tell you what a covered person is. What else we got here? Wow. So they've got, everything is literally in here. I'm not going to read the entire policy right now, but I recommend that you do for your own purposes, right? When you get your policy, I recommend that you read through the provisions, right? There's going to be stuff, like people will ask me questions all the time. What about this, that, and the third? And to be honest, it's all covered, but it really depends. It might be covered in your policy if you paid for that protection. But most people try to get the bare bones minimum type of policy so that it's the cheapest possible. The cheapest isn't always the best. In fact, I've gotten that message given to me when someone gave me a tattoo. They said a good tattoo ain't cheap and a cheap tattoo ain't good. Well, the same thing goes for insurance. Good insurance ain't cheap and cheap insurance ain't good. But everybody keeps trying to go for cheap insurance. I had Ramil Amir ask me, why would I spend $1,000 on life insurance? Well, you know what? The way a lot of them talk, I can understand them not wanting to spend $1,000 on life insurance. They're trying to spend $500 on property, distressed property. You not know you need a legal team. You not know you need a rehab team. You not know you need builder's risk insurance. So while those people are building a brick that you own, even though the construction company is bonded and insured, that's for if they do something while they're on the premises. When they leave those materials, that's materials you paid for. So you own those materials that are going into the property that you're flipping. So when that brick falls off that building and hits somebody in the head, they're gonna sue your black ass. But I don't know what I'm talking about, MOT. I want to talk about no insurance. Even though we're doing trucking businesses, and I can show you how, in the midst of doing that trucking biz, you dudes who've been on the road for 20 years don't want to be on the road no longer for 20 years. And maybe you're tired and don't want to do dispatch neither, so you want to retire. Maybe if you listen to people like me and she, you'd put together a LIRP, a life insurance retirement plan, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And after 20 years of driving, you can stop. You can retire. So you know what? Let's do that now. Let's look at the work. So let's add this to the stream. All right. So this is my back office. Let's go to it logged me out. So I created a client called Retirement Plan. Let's modify it. So this guy is going to be 35 years old. So at 35, let's see why it would be unattractive for Ramil Amir to buy life insurance at $1,000 a month. Because this is how most agents are going to set it up, because they don't know what they're doing. Or they generally don't care about you. This is a person in Texas. So at $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month will get a 35-year-old male $1.1 million worth of death benefit, right? But his cash value after 10 years, he paid $120 out of pocket. he's got access to 90,000. After 20 years, he's paid 240 out of pocket. He's got access to 299,000. After 30 years, we're assuming 30 years he's going to retire at 65. He's paid $360,000, yet he's got $659,000 fucking dollars there. That's why you pay $1,000 a month on life insurance. If you put $1,000 a month in the bank or $1,000 a month into an index fund that's speculative, you might get something, but you're not guaranteed to damn near double your money. In this, you're guaranteed to double your money unless you don't pay your premiums. We got that in the chat. Okay. So now, that is just if he just wants basic life insurance, right? This is called percent of target. So now let's do something a little more attractive. Let's see what we do if we change one thing. So go back to page 15 here. So the only thing that changed here is death benefits started to increase. So this would be the type of policy that you would get, this first one, if you care about yourself. This would be the policy that most people are trained is, when I die, someone get a check. Right? Now, let's make this better for the client. And again, why would you pay $1,000 a month on life insurance? Because it's a life insurance retirement plan, right? I just showed you how putting $1,000 a month away for 30 years is $360,000. But I just showed you how you can make it $600,000, almost $700,000, right? So this one is $1,000 a month. But wait, why is he only paying for $747,000 worth of death benefit? Here he's got 1.1 million. Here he's got 1.152, 1.152. But hey, he's paying for the same $1,000 a month, but he's only paying for $747,000 worth of death benefit. What happened? Well, again, remember, it's a retirement plan. So we spent $120,000 over the first 10 years. We got access to 113. Same scenario here. We spent $113,000 over the first 10 years. We got access to 92. Same scenario here. We spent 120 over the first 10 years. We got access to 92. So what are you looking for your life insurance to do? Because this on paper, the only thing that changed was the amount of death benefit. But he's still paying the same $1,000 a month. So then what's different? Oh, he's building more cash. Right, so 20 years, he paid $240 out of pocket, and he's got access to $350. So wait, you mean the insurance company paid him $100,000? Because if he cancels this policy after paying $240,000 into it, the company has to send him back $349,673. So the insurance company paid him $100,000 for having life insurance? Oh, shit. Wait, the measure of a man. So you're planning for this shit. And this is why it's better to start when you're younger. So now, 65, right? We're retiring at 65. So he paid $360,000 out of his pocket. Wait, but he lived, he didn't die, so his family didn't get the $1 million worth of death benefit, which he applied for 747, but here the death benefit is 955 and his cash value is 783,000. So wait, at 65, I put $1,000 a month away for the last 30 years, and it's literally on paper, the math shows that it's $360,000. Let's do that math. Let's do that math. Right? So what is that? That is, let's do it like this. Where's my calculator? Right? Let's see. So we've got 1,000 times 12 times 30. $360,000. Right? Now, let's see what a 10% of that. So times 10. That's $36,000. Right? So let's assume you got 10% over the course of that 30 years. Because you're not going to get 10% a year, right? And the average rate of return on investment is 10% over the course of 20 years. So we'll give you 15%. We'll do 15%. So 360, we'll say times 0.15. So we'll say you earn $54,000. So 360,000 plus 54,000. So you'd be at 414,000. This is the buy term, invest the rest. If you were to invest in it in something that gave you a 10% return. So since they're telling you a 10% return, they're not telling you the average rate of return on the average time horizon of investment, which is 20 years. The average rate of return on a 20-year investment is 10%. So I gave you 15% because we did 30 years here, right? So over 20 years, you get that 10%, and then the next 10 years, I figure you'll get another 5%. That's $54,000 or $414,000. That's assuming that you get that 10% rate of return, which is unlikely. However, $783,274 divided by, what is that, 30? So you got $26,000 a year off of your investment, right? Versus 54,000. Oh no, you know what? We'll do it like this. I'm gonna 360 minus 783,274. So your yield here was $423,274. So 423,274 divided by 12. Divided by 30, right? Because we want to see what that is over 30 years. So your annual return on investment was $14,109. Now, 54,000 divided by 30. Your average return on investment when you buy term and invest the rest was $1,800 a year versus $14,000 a year in life insurance. But see, you've been trained to want to invest, and you don't even know what the fees up you're investing. Right? Now I can make this even more attractive, but I don't know that I'm going to do that right. What I am going to do, Red Pill, what's going on? You already know, Malika, I love to drop them gems. And I actually, I may try and do that in like the next week or two, and just do a brunch and wealth here. What do you guys think? You know, let me know in the comments if instead of doing one with Charles, you guys would prefer me to do a brunch and wealth right here on YouTube, you guys, and maybe even make it a little interactive and open it up. Obviously not just with myself, but with other financial professionals. So Malika's in. Not only is a client, she the player president. Okay, so let me get back to this. All right, so now let's make it a little more attractive. Boom. All right. So like I said, why not? See, this is how you play around with it. But again, there's realms with it, right? There's really areas where you have to get started with it. So now this one, right? He's paying $1,000 a month for a $232,000 death benefit. So let me put these all at size 175. Okay, So this one, he's paying $1,000 a month for $1.1 million of death benefit. But we saw that this is for death insurance. Again, here he's paying $1,000 a month for $1.1 million worth of death benefit. But again, his cash value isn't robust. Here he's paying $1,000 a month for $747,000 worth of death benefit, but his cash value is robust. Well, here he's paying $1,000 a month, but there's only a $232,000 death benefit. Well, after 10 years of paying $12,000, he paid $120,000 out of his pocket, from 36 to 45. But he's already made his money back, because if he cancels that policy at year 10, the company has to give him an additional $16,882 in a check, tax-free, back. So let's say he waits 20 years. He's paid out of his pocket $240,000, yet he has here cash value that he can borrow against or cash out of $401,023. Now again, year 20, he's paid the same $360,000 that he's paid every year in every other scenario that I placed out to you niggas. But again, this is why I'm Kobe Bryant and these other motherfuckers are Smush Parker. He's paid out of his pocket $360,000. If he cancels, he gets back $878,203. Let's do some math. 360,000 minus 878,203 equals. So the insurance company paid him $518,203 for making sure that when he dies, his family gets $1.1 million. Wait, but he only applied for $232,000. Well, if he dies along the way, because his cash value is increasing, his death benefit is increasing. See, there's a trick to that. A lot of agents don't teach you that trick, because we get paid a certain way. See, I'd only get paid off of a certain amount on this type of policy, where I'd prefer to get paid off of a whole lot more. But at any rate, I'm going to close this down, ladies and gents. I see sheets down too. Long-term game. Some people have no vision. I got you. So, ladies and gents, I'm going to get ready and shut it down. Go get me something to eat and clean up before my wife beats me in the head with a wooden spoon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me. You could have been anywhere else in the world. Hopefully you got some game, especially for our men. Fine by me, content for the future. PS, why you got to do so much like that? Well, listen, man. When you compare careers of Smush Parker or Kobe Bryant, yes, Smush Parker compared to the average person who wants to play basketball had a stellar career. He made it to the NBA. But when you're talking about the big leagues, when you're talking about careers, and when you're talking about people who are going to be memorable, Smush Parker is going to be memorable in his own right. But when we're looking at the statistics and the accolades, those go to Kobe Bryant. And there's a reason they go to Kobe Bryant. Because Kobe Bryant's going to teach you stuff like this. So, Clarence, when it comes to renters insurance, also, before I get out of here, really doesn't particularly matter too much. It really depends on the provisions you're trying to get. You can get a policy from something called like Lemonade or something on your own. I don't really like those. You really want the human interaction, because you really want to be able to talk to a licensed advisor and ask them questions. Well, I have guns. What kind of provisions do I need in my policy for guns? I see here it covers $1,000, up to $1,000 if you got a gun. But that's if you got a gun and it's in a gun safe and it's in lock and key. And it can't be an AR-15. I happen to have an AR-15 that's laced in gold, and a gold Desert Eagle, and a gold 9mm, and a pearl nickel cadmium, Walther P38. Well, those are more expensive guns. So those are going to be covered there. At any rate, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links will be in the description. With that being said, wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass, work in progress every day and see success. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.